the only speaker, so enjoy food. Before I start, I want to express my gratitude to my wife, Raquel. I'm from Montreal, and over there we have an expression that doesn't translate so well in English, but really I think describes Raquel. She has savoir-faire. She knows how to do things in the right way, and she really is incredible in that way, and all that she does for me and for Harry and hopefully for Princess going forward. And so I just want to express that for her. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's very special to us to have so many people over here that we share relationships with. I recently read that there was a study from Oxford done where they took a look at how many close relationships people have, and they found that even in the days where now we have everyone has cell phones, emails, social media, etc., things like that, the maximum amount that the average close relationships that the average person is able to maintain is still only around 5 or 6 at one shot. They did a little further research, and they found that when someone enters into marriage or a romantic relationship, that number goes down by 2. And I think that when you have a child, that goes even further. So we appreciate everybody and the relationship that we have with all the people over here. I want to thank my parents and my siblings for making the journey over here and joining us in the Simcha. I really appreciate that. I want to thank my in-laws and Raquel's siblings for everything that they do, and the whole extended family for everything that they do for us. It's really incredible. We'd like to express our satayv that we are privileged to have great-grandparents joining us today. It's a zchus for us that they are able to share in our lives and in our business, and we really appreciate that. Obviously, we think about the people who aren't here and all the relatives that are not here, and that we are sure that they are looking down and they're sharing our joy, and we want to make sure that our son, Princess, will come to know the Pasha Yisus that he comes from. Most importantly, Raquel and I feel we've given our son already an invaluable gift with his name, naming him after my grandfather, where I think was from. For those of you who don't know this, my grandfather was born also on Parshat Simchas, the same like the baby, and he was named at the suggestion of the Charter Rebbe on this because of the parsha, and that I think that's a very almost eerie connection that the baby has already with his namesake. It probably takes someone much more well thought out or articulate than myself to summarize my grandfather and who he was in a few short sentences over here while we're talking. And all I can say is that he was totally unique in his bekias, in his ahavas hatera, in his yedias hatera, in his achrayus, his kal, his chesed that he did, his relationship with the gedolim of the previous generation. All these aspects of his were incredibly unique, and each one of them. And what is truly mind-boggling is how he was able to harmoniously blend all these qualities and all these aspects that he had. And I had the supposed to know my grandfather. I had to learn with him for 3 years when I was growing up. And Rachel and I, we understand the responsibility of teaching him about who his namesake is, and we daven, and we wait for the day that he emulates some of my grandfather's qualities, and the nachas that will bring to our family. I'd just like to say a short Tartar from my grandfather, the Gemara says in Brachis, Amar Rav Yechon, Tov like Mispal Arvis Mispal Stein. So the Gemara asks, Meisvei, so the Gemara says that if someone misses a tefillah, he can make it up with the next tefillah. So the Gemara asks Kasha that we have a memra of Volvis Layukaliska, and something that is a fault that can't be fixed up is someone who misses a tefillah, and he misses tefillah shel shachris. Seemingly the stira to what the Gemara, what Yechon had previously said. The Gemara answers that Brisa is talking about where he intentionally b'mezid was mevatel the davening. He had the choice to be mevatel, and then he chose not to do that, and in such case, he doesn't have the ability to make it up. Places of there says that not only if someone is b'mezid, but even if someone skips the second tefillah and now wants to go back and rectify the first tefillah, that he's not able to do. So, correct the Mefarshim on the Gemara. If what Taisus is saying is true, then why did the Gemara answer? It didn't have to answer that we're talking about a case of Amazid where he intentionally did it. Just say that the brisa that says that you cannot fix up your tefillas is talking about a circumstance where he skipped 2 tefillas. If that also is not can't go back. So my grandfather answered by telling to a Gemara in Beis. The Gemara in Beis says that there was a man in Rava's neighborhood, Rava maybe, who one time he saw that he was sad on Yom Tov, and he said, "What happened?" He said, "I forgot to do an Erev Tefillin." So he said, "You know what? Samai Tabibi, you rely on my Erev Tefillin, and that'll be good enough." Next year he sees him again, and again he looks depressed. He says, "What happened?" He says, "I forgot again." So he says, "Hey, you know what? Once you forget twice, you're intentional, you lose it." So he says you're pesheya, and everyone else can rely on my eruv, but you yourself cannot rely on my eruv. My grandfather said, what do you see from here? You see from here that a person who forgets twice is the same as a person who intentionally goes ahead and misses the tefillah. Right? So he said, now we can understand the Gemara over there. Because in the Gemara's Havamina, we thought that someone who misses once and misses twice should be the same thing, right? Because we didn't have this chiddush that there's something worse about doing it intentionally. It's only after the Gemara answers that a person who intentionally misses the tefillah is not able to go back, is Taisus able to say, you know what, if someone who's intentionally not able to go back, so someone who misses twice also has that same level, and therefore you cannot go back. But that's only after the Gemara already answers that there's a mazid, and so the Gemara could not have come up to this step before already setting up a mazid. Thank you all for joining us.